Eric, your camera's off, buddy. And your sound's off.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I saw the top of your lovely head there.
Yeah.
So, Colton, you want to see what actually warmed up?
Jeremy. I'm in a meeting right now.
What?
I'm in a meeting right now.
Oh,
That's your son.
Yeah.
he actually. I wasn't really warmed up.
So my colleague, Don Gleason, may or may not join us. He thinks he has the flu.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
A bug. He's got a bug. It's the season for that kind of stuff.
Indeed it is. Oh yeah, I've sent some messages with him before, actually. He was one of the people. Matter of fact, yeah, he's one of the ones who initially contacted me, and you were involved in that conversation too, just briefly going over some of the products.
Okay.
Looks like Don Gleason, Bernard Bayou.
Yeah, Bernard's it. Oh, okay. So Bernard, yes, I know Bernard.
Aaron T. Leroy.
Yes, the famous Aaron T. Leroy, yes.
Yeah, so all of them reached out to me, and I think it was maybe one more person, but
Right.
that's how I kind of got in this
Okay.
network. So
Perfect. Perfect.
I can't with Tremaine just talking so loud. Man, fuck you. I can beat the whole party for now.
Ah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
So, Neon Dion, I got a question for you. Two questions.
What you got?
The Buccaneers going to make it?
They're gonna make their division, but that's where it stops. They're gonna lose in the first round because that whole division is terrible right now.
Gotcha. But you never know. They could get hot all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, 3 games left. Nobody in that division's over 500.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those years where another team makes it into the playoffs that has a losing record.
Could happen.
Yep. But I think the way everybody else is playing in that division, they'll make it, but I don't think they're going to get past the first round.
Okay. Michael B.
Good evening, all. Good evening.
How did your meeting go with Keith?
It was excellent. Like mines.
Did you get your picture taken with him? As I
I
asked?
did. I'm not sending it to you because I'm not letting you post it first.
That's fine. I don't care. I I have purposes, you know, I would
Oh,
not.
yeah. I know, I
I'm
know.
not one of these selfie guys, you know that.
I know that. I'm not either, but I said, he's like, yeah, Matt did say that. We got to get a selfie.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Love the orange coat, Kelly.
Are you hunting, Kelly?
No, I was just outside with my dog and it's a little chilly here in Kansas.
Ooh, I bet. Ooh.
How cold is it there?
I mean, it's in the tens, but with like a 30-mile-per-hour wind, so it's probably about 0.
Yep.
Yeah, don't miss that. Don't miss that.
Me
at all.
neither. It's too cold for snow right now, right?
There were flurries this morning, so yeah.
Ooh.
It was cold here in San Antonio. It was 36 degrees this morning.
That would be hot.
Yeah, that would be hot for Kansas.
I know, I'm just saying, but it's cold. Aldino, how are you, sir?
How's it going, everybody? Doing pretty good out here in Kansas as well. Chilly.
You know, Aldino, I'm going to ask. I love your voice. Would you do some voiceover work for me?
I think I might. I
You
might
got the
consider it.
James Earl Jones voice going for you. You know.
My daughter
Military-
used to say the same thing about it. She's like, I
Yep.
want her to speak.
This is military transition roundtable. Seriously, I'm serious. You got the voice. It's a powerful voice.
Hey, might be something to consider as I transition.
Yeah, you got a very articulate voice. It's got authority to it. Having done a little radio work, having done some TV production work, I have an ear for that kind of stuff.
Makes sense.
Thank you, sir. Don, how you feeling, buddy? Okay. Just take it easy, okay?
Oh, Matt, did you see what I won on LinkedIn this week from Adam Bratz?
What did you win?
He had the Marine Corps crayons.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got that. I was like, I tagged Dennis in it because it said tag someone you know. I was like, oh yeah, I'm tagging Dennis. Shots are fired. I said, this will be for my baby Marine.
Yeah. And speaking of baby Marine, I think he talked to Dennis about what to do in his casual status.
Oh,
Yeah.
did he?
I don't know. I was asking.
He hasn't told me, so I don't know that he has or hasn't.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But he's on his way to his next. He'll be home for some recruiting, then he'll be on his way to his next spot. So we're happy about that.
So he's on temporary duty as a recruiter.
Yep, he will be. He's not yet. I pick him up next Friday.
How long is he gonna be home for the holidays?
He's got to be back the 5th by midnight, so
Okay.
before the 6th, anytime the day of the 5th.
That's in Pensacola.
Yep. He's like, so they do it much differently than we do. If you take that leave, you forfeit your right for a ticket to your next station. In the Army, if we take that leave, they give us a ticket still. I was like,
All right.
that's odd, but okay. Make sure you know you can afford that ticket.
I guess.
Yeah. So, because my duty station when I did it was Hawaii. I wouldn't have bought that one-way ticket.
No. Interesting.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yep. That's why they keep crayons close.
Yeah.
Dennis, I'm sorry. Shots fired. It's all in love though, man.
Gotta put some flavor on them.
That's right. That's right. Hot sauce, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what my son would say. Everything's better with hot sauce, Dad.
How about those the crayons ready to eat?
Say again?
There's like a former Marine who has like his crayons ready to eat. He sells them from his website.
Yeah, I got some this week. Yeah, I got them from him. Yeah.
We were gonna get some for our old chief. the and then he said, "I do not want to."
He prefers the real ones. They're a little tastier, I guess.
Crayons are just the new gummy bears. So
Yeah, but some gummy bears are like, they got special flavors, if you know what I'm saying.
So the unique part about that whole story about the guy who does that, though,
Yeah.
he's a Marine. I don't know if he's a retired Marine or if he did some time in the Marines, but he said he took 5 years to develop that. I said, man, I think that's great. Everybody's making fun and poking the bear. I said, make it a business. I said, that's awesome that you could do that. That's thinking there.
So
I
guys,
mean, they're not cheap either, because I looked on his website. I was like, man, I'm glad I got a gift card.
so
I mean, but it's cool.
I was gonna say, Michael B, would you do the wins and challenges first tonight?
I sure will.
And Dion, would you cover the when we get to the hotspot? Are you up for that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get started. Well, good evening, everybody. It is the last MTR meeting for this group of the year. We will meet again on January 5th. Now, we have one new guest who I met today. And Eric, what we're going to do is we're going to go through what we call wins and challenges. When we're finished, then we'd like you to spend 30 seconds to introduce yourself. And if you'd like to share with us about wins and challenges, you can do that. And then we'll move on to the next part. So we promise it's a pretty fluid thing. I have the educational moment tonight, so I'll do something on that. And then we'll go into the what we call the hotspot, or, you know, putting a flashlight on a topic that some people have so we can break it down. So that's pretty much our routine. And then finally we do accountability at the end. So with that, Michael B, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And my name is Michael. I'll be starting off with wins and challenges. Who actually, I'll start. I'll just make it easy. I'll start. So wins this week: Go Army beat Navy. Tight game. If you didn't see it, we'll just keep it light. I was amazed. I mean, it could have been anybody's game.
It was good.
Truly. But challenges have just been to stay focused and just keep a good spirit sometimes. That's been a challenge. Just not that I'm having bitterness or anything, but just to keep it right during this holiday season and remember what things are about. It's not all presents and Santa Claus and all that, and there's nothing wrong with all that, but let's remember what it's about. So that's been something I've been working on, and that's me. That's my 30-second spotlight. So who would like to take the next spot for wins and challenges? And normally we don't go so light with a football game. That was just me being, I get it, facetious, I guess.
I'll jump in. So for me, wins this week, well, daughter got accepted to her third college, but she also chose one, so that's good, and that's Texas Women's University. So now my focus has been shifted to scholarships and all that good stuff, trying to teach. Yes, you get the GI Bill from me, but let's find other money avenues and use that for your higher level education. So there was that. I guess we'll go back to my spotlight from next week, and I'll cover some other things. But challenges this week is really sitting down with her and trying to figure out classes, what we need to do for her enrollment and all that good stuff coming up. As far as work goes, like I said, we'll cover that when we get back to follow up from last week.
Okay, thank you, Dion.
Okay, next.
I'll go next.
Okay, Kelly.
So wins, last Friday, I final outed from the Army. So I'm on permissive TDY or TAA and terminal leave. So I was able to get that done. And then I also did the leader transition, 3.5 day session, you know, changing we to me. And then I did an alumni event, and then I did that follow-up counseling. So those are my 2 wins. Challenges is just embracing, a different schedule. I'm doing okay with it, but I don't start my job until January 6th, so I'm getting things done, and it's just a little different.
Truly is. That's the fact there.
What'd you think of LTA? Good experience?
Yeah, I thought it was a phenomenal experience. LTI and MTR together holistically cover lots of things, that transitioning service members need. They overlap a little bit, but together they're like the 2 superpower programs that provide you that time to look at yourself, and then obviously has touch points like this so that you have a support group to keep you accountable for the future.
That's
Oh, yeah.
excellent. That's an excellent recommendation. Wow.
Oh,
Annie
yeah.
would love to hear that.
I'm marking
And
the tape. I'm marking the tape, Don.
Well, I'm gonna do some kind of, since my schedule's been a little loose, I haven't posted as much LinkedIn, but that's one of the ones I just want to frame up. But I really think, yeah, these 2 together. So I just need to wordsmith it.
Thank you. That's a good one.
All right. Hey, how's it going? I guess I'll go next. So yeah, so had some wins that were kind of interesting. So I'd been having some issues with my skill bridge that I'd been approved for, like basically ghosting me for weeks and weeks. And they finally got back with me, and they gave me some paperwork, saying, yeah, I would be starting, on time. But I kind of find out some more information about them, and I start getting some second thoughts. So I actually had some other interviews, and another win was that I had another skill bridge, like another company that wanted to bring me on as an intern, basically helping them with their Azure and AWS cloud security. So that should be pretty cool. So yeah, they just sent me a skill bridge offer letter, and I talked to the CIO yesterday. So that was pretty good. So yeah, I know it turned out pretty good. Only problem is I have to scramble to get all the paperwork signed in like the next couple of weeks. But so the challenge is I got some paperwork to do, and then I'm supposed to be taking my AWS Solutions Architect Associate next week. So I'm getting close, but it's a grind. So hopefully that'll be successful next week. But that's all I got.
Great. Next. Thank you for sharing, Ken.
This is Ann. I could go next.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
So for my win, I finished my O2O PMI ACP class course and my HS 311 for the Certified Financial Planner. So I'm working on 2 certifications at the same time. And I've been walking 30 minutes every day. So those are the wins. Challenges is the transition to retirement, medical appointments, what can I still do and what I can't do now that by the time I get back from California, I'm retired. So some of the medical appointments that they set up for me, they say, oh yeah, it's covered because you were active duty when they put in the request. And then there's things that they say no. So we'll see once I get back. The other challenge is now that I finished those courses, I have exams for them. And let me see, both of them are through Pearson VUE. So I had to go to a site rather than try to do it at home, and then computer don't work. So I have those 2 exams to study for, and anti-money laundering for being a Texas life and health insurance agent. So studying.
Very
Keep
good.
busy.
Congratulations on your search. Next. Still have 3 up there.
Hello.
Okay, good evening, Tim.
Excuse me, let's see. The only challenges I'm really having right now are, of course, like always, waiting on military people to do military things and get paperwork routed because,
Yes.
you know, no one ever wants to do anything, especially when it's, you know, this close to the holidays. Basically, no one wants to do anything. People are just showing up to work because they have to. And yeah, I mean, that's really the only challenge. I'm just waiting on my ECP to get done so I can get my orders printed off so I can start getting things scheduled to get my wife and son out of here in March or out of Japan anyway, come March or April. I had a couple of phone calls last week, one of the two. We're just not very good. People trying to get me to take jobs that I don't want, that I think are a waste of my time. Wins, the hospital network, they just seem to be lacking education on what an ETP or what a skill bridge CSP are. So it seems like they're back on board with that. There's another hospital network up there that my Roots to Root contact is going to put me in connection with. So that's going to go. I went to the LTI alumni thing a few days ago. I liked the LTI event. I personally thought the Reboots 2-week event was better than the LTI event. I just thought it went more in depth and was a better overall program. What else? I go home on Saturday
Fix
and then I don't go back to work until the 18th of January. So I have plenty more time to just do nothing. And then I still have another 45 days of leave to burn before May. So that's good. Yeah, so all in all, things are going well.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we still got Sean and Aladino, unless I miss. I think that. Okay.
And Dennis, you got Dennis too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. That's the reason I was saying unless. I knew I'd missed someone. I apologize for that.
Too many people here for you?
No, it happens sometimes. That's good. See, I can't count either. I'm throwing shots over the bow, and he's like, "You can't count."
So got my NARSUM back from the physicals and all that. Have an appointment tomorrow with legal, so that whole process should be moving right along. Successfully went back to work without punching anybody in the throat, so that was quite the win. We'll go on Christmas leave next week, and then be back essentially for about a month as far as I'm concerned, and then leave and out the door. So
okay.
The only real challenge is I, as usual, have too much on my plate.
Too much going on. Okay. Okay. Were they shocked to see you back to work, Sean?
Yeah, they were more shocked when I told them I still had 60 days to burn.
Okay.
It's because his beard is missing.
Yeah.
So they didn't get to see that.
Okay. Dennis or Aladino?
So I'll go next. As far as the wins goes, the middle school kids just finished their basketball season. They didn't run and perform how they wanted to, but the fact that it ended, I mean, there's less driving on my part all over the place. So that's definitely a win. I will get some of my afternoon time back or my evening time back. Additionally, I was able to continue to look through my DISC assessment and share it with the wife. She was somewhat shocked at the response that she saw there. She was like, wait, what? So over the next couple of weeks, Christmas break, I'll be having some additional discussions, working on my the betterment of myself by getting to know me and getting those that know me to give me their assessment of what they see. As far as the challenges goes, slow pace out here. Government organizations during this time of the year tend to not be at their peak performance. So things have drastically slowed down, and there's a lot of white space and empty spots in the calendar. So those courses, those classes, those signatures that I need to get to pursue additional education and certification are taking a little bit longer, but it's the government and that's what they do around this time of the year. So I guess I'll have to be patient on that part, but that's pretty much it.
Okay. Thanks, Dino. And Dennis.
Hey, good evening, everyone. WINS is in the final weeks of my MBA, completed everything that I needed to, applied for graduation. So I have A's in my last 2 classes. So as long as I
Sweet.
continue turning in my assignments, then I'll be set. Conferment is going to be set for April around that time, but at least everything is done. I'll be able to make a update to everything and by my name that says MBA. But
Congrats.
thank you. That's a win for me. Challenges is trying to figure out what's next. Got the government job and everything, but it's still going pretty slow. So just gotta, I gotta get comfortable going slow and not being in either the driver's seat or someone who tends to take charge of things. So that's a little out of my comfort zone, and just trying to be a part of as many groups as I can. That's what I got for challenges.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing.
Michael, thank you for leading that tonight. What I'd like to do, Dion, is I want to do the educational moment, then we'll start into the spotlight, and I will ask you for your feedback on what you learned from the spotlight. Then we'll move on to the next thing. But first,
Did you get Eric's intro?
oh, that's right. You're right. Thank you.
No, you didn't.
Eric, I'm so sorry. Eric,
okay.
if you would, please introduce yourself.
All right. So my name is Eric Cooper. I'm currently stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I'm going through the MEV process, and I think I'm getting down towards the last part of the phase right now. Let's see. I was just going to go around the same route of the wins and challenges because it seemed like a good buffer. So I'm going to start off with the challenges because I think that's more in the forefront of my mind. Just the abrupt transition. I knew I was going through something medically, and after coming here from being overseas for 4 years in South Korea and actually being comprehensively treated for it, it kind of initiated the med board, and it's been pretty quick, which is not what I've usually heard about a med board, but it's going pretty quick here at Fort Sill. So a lot of things are coming to fruition very quickly. So just preparing my family, preparing myself, utilizing all the resources that are out there in a very small period of time. It's been very challenging, all while still showing up to work and doing what's expected of me. Unfortunately, I don't work in a facet of where I can have time off as some of my counterparts have for transition from the military, but you take it and roll with it, I guess. As far as wins go, finding all these groups, the social groups of people who are in similar categories as me, transition from the military, and having that transparency to see that I'm not the only one who has struggles with this as well. A little bit about me personally, I'm studying for my master's in cybersecurity right now. I just finished another class. I only have 3 more to go. Found out I'm on the dean's list with a 3.9 GPA, so I'm killing that. What else? I've got a provisional VA rating of 80% right now, so that was a huge win for me. I was very worried about that, but I'm comfortable with that. I have a pretty good plan going back home to hang out with my family that I haven't seen in about 15 years. So that's a huge win, being back a part of their life, my mother and father. And my family's doing well. I mean, I can't ask for too much more except for good health, good grades with my kids, and still pulling a paycheck as long as I can with the military. I found a few remote jobs that are looking into things. I've attended some virtual job fairs, and I have a pretty good plan set up for a remote job that's going to help pave the way while I finish my school and transition into the actual cybersecurity realm. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I know things are going to be tough, but I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be able to come out on top of this as long as I continue to put forth the effort and have a good outlook and be full of charisma going forward. So if y'all don't have any questions, that's me.
Awesome.
I just love that positive attitude and spin
Yeah,
and
yeah.
keep it going. That's the right attitude for transition.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Don, for reminding me that I had forgotten about our newest person. So tonight we're going to talk about building a connection database. So this is my slides. Basically, we all are doing a wonderful job, especially in this group, right, of building a network. But I want to talk about two aspects of building that network. And one is to use Calendly.com. I'm going to show you how to use Calendly.com to not only build a relationship, but also to capture the data from that relationship. So, for example, let's imagine that Eric and I meet for the first time. I want to follow up with Eric. I will send him a note like this. And from there, maybe Eric will reach back and say, hey, what works for you? And then I would probably respond by saying, hey, I've got this lovely little thing called Calendly. If you go to www.calendly.com/Matt Shearer, you can get on my schedule. And from there, I'll take the data from Calendly and put it into a CRM. Now, some people know what a CRM is. Who has a question about what a CRM means to them?
I'm not familiar with the acronym in this realm.
Customer relationship management. It's a tool to keep track of your resources and people you know. You know, back in the old days, we had these Rolodexes, you know. This is like a Rolodex on steroids. And so this is how I use my CRM. This is Pipedrive. This is David Barrett, who was featured in the previous slide. So now, because of Calendly, I can get his phone number, I can get his email, I can add more data to his file. And then his phone number, there's the email, I harvest the data, and then I make a note to get back to David at another date, another time. That's our educational minute for today. Anybody got any questions?
Yes, Matt.
Yeah.
So does this act like LinkedIn does, like with birthdays or whatever, when it says your connection, Michael, has a birthday whenever?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
it does. And it's but it keeps better track. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, LinkedIn says we're going to merge LinkedIn with the CRM that we're developing, but it's still under development. Eventually, there will be a CRM that will keep track of every time you've had an interaction with someone on LinkedIn, okay? But until that happens, until that magic day occurs, I would say look at a CRM to manage your resources, especially in networking, even after you left the workforce and you're like Michael or Dion or myself, you know, to keep track of people, find people that you need to stay in touch with. And it's just a good tool. So those are just two aspects of building online relationships. Okay. When we last met 2 weeks ago, Dion was talking. Dion, we focused on Dion's was the spotlight, and it was a lack of confidence in his new role. So Dion, if you would you please share what you recap how you saw it and what have you learned in the last 2 weeks?
So I saw it as me being the new guy in this new role with people that have been doing this for years, and going out to our respective sites or whatnot and doing inspections, trying to figure out what's what based off of the black and white of the regulatory guidance, right? And everybody knows regulations is just a guideline there. Everybody has a different interpretation of what they think it is, right? So my thing was, I think we should be looking at it this way versus what everybody else is going on. So for me, since my voice and I'm the new guy and what we're talking about seemed to be in the background, felt some type of way about taking the job to wrap it all up in the bow. So the last couple of weeks, so what I've done was I sat down and I talked to my contract lead, and then I've talked to our I guess, station chief or whatever. Had a conversation with both of those guys. And then I also talked to the other new guy that came in the same time that I did, right? So between the other new guy that came in and my contract lead, they all felt the same way that I did, right? So what we've come up with after talking to our site lead is we set up teams. We put teams together versus, hey, we need people to go out here and do this. So now they have individual teams with people already assigned to things prior to what's going on. Because we have a calendar of when we need to go out stuff, minus, or when we need to go out to certain sites, minus some out the blue stuff, right? And so then from there, what we decided was at least every other week, those teams get together to speak about, all right, to go through the actual checklist because it's universal. All right, what are we actually looking for when we go in there? What are we interpreting, right? So everybody's on the same sheet of music every single time we go down there. So I think that was a positive. But what was surprising to me is, like I said, there's a couple of people that felt that way, but nobody said anything. I don't know, maybe it's just my personality. I don't know. So that was a surprising thing, but no, I think everything is working out. We had some things that were going down the last couple of weeks that we all seemed like we were all on the same sheet of music. Everything is working. Like I said, we've identified with the team that I'm going out with or whatever all the time, sat down, picked their brain about some things. And I think we're going in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Dion, thank you for sharing. What I remember was that you had a lot of expertise and that you're now drawing upon that expertise to make an informed decision on how to interpret those regulations.
Yes.
So Dion, now, because you're one of our adjunct facilitators, would you lead us with the spotlight part of tonight's program?
All right, so does anybody have anything that they want to bring up in the spotlight, or does anybody have any thing that's pressing on their mind that might not be spotlight but needs some feedback on?
I'm not specifically aware of what the spotlight subject is.
Okay, so what normally happens is you have all this great experience in this room or whatever, right? And so for example, for you in your upcoming transition or move or whatever, if you're coming across a problem or an issue you're running into and you need some kind of advice or some feedback on there, what we'll do is we'll ask you a couple of questions and we'll give you our input on it after we get through the questions that we ask you based off your feedback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I could definitely talk on that. Like I said, I've only been going through the med board now since like late August, so it's only been a few months. And what I've realized that I've had a hard time with, it's not impossible to do it, but it was just the immense amount of information that was given to me in such a short period of time. Like I literally just got back around to answering Mr. Scherer's message to book this appointment to be a part of this roundtable discussion because I just had so much that I was pilfering through. It's hard. It was hard for me to try to triage what information was more pertinent, what was the end point of starting a discussion with certain individuals. And, now I'm realizing that, some of it is just about networking. Some of it is just about having support in the same area of you. And some of it is actually like going down the employment track and actually trying to find out about services that will directly affect my future as far as employment goes. I just didn't really know, like, if I was like, I had this meeting in the back of my mind and I felt like I was missing out on something that was vital as far as like employment goes on the forefront, but I just didn't know what category each communication was in. I went on LinkedIn, and I typed, hey, I'm a transitioning soldier, so on and so forth. And then boom, my inbox was blowing up and I was like, oh crap, what do I really need to focus on at the first point? And now I'm getting through to the end of it. I'm like, I'm glad I actually, prioritized based on just the order of precedence of what I got. And I think this was, I'm getting close to the end of my list of the contacts that I have to, but it was just a little bit, not confusing. I just didn't know what my expectations were of everything that I was communicating with. So that was a challenge for me. And it still is, because I still have a lot of facets of communication that I have to utilize to see what's out there for me in any facet of transition.
All right, so wrapping all that up. All right, so
Yeah.
your issue, or what I'm hearing, is trying to figure out what avenue or what individuals you need to prioritize when trying to network or transition or look for a job. All of those things.
Right.
All right.
Can I start with the right kind of question? So, Eric, you're still working full-time in your clinic as well as doing your med board out processing?
Unfortunately, yes, I am working full-time in the clinic, and I'm also dual-headed as the operations NCOIC. I don't know what they're thinking about, but I'm squeezing everything in where I can, hence why I had to talk to you at work today, sir.
No, that answers my question. I'll come back with my advice later. So
Okay.
these are the kind of questions that we're going to ask you. Who else has a question?
I've got a couple of questions there. So one, do you have an idea of what your timeline looks like from now till end?
So
Or even a rough idea?
they keep telling me it's about 1 to 2 months, but then a month goes by and they're like, oh, maybe another 1 or 2 months. So right now it's so tentative that I can't really put my hand on anything. I just know that my med board is at the rating phase now. And they said that takes about 3 months, and a month has already went by. So I can't even like really put my finger on anything when people actually ask me for timelines, unfortunately. So that's been a real hindrance as well. So yeah.
And then my other question would be, is that, so I don't know what your NCO support channel and all that looks like ahead of you. Is there someone that you can go and have a intellectual conversation with and say, hey, listen, like here is the logistics of what's happening, and shoving some of that stuff off of your plate, right? And I understand that that's as a leader, right? Like, I'm guessing you're in some, obviously, some type of leadership position, is oftentimes we don't want to do that. However, given what it sounds like, what I'm making up about your situation, is that pushing everything off your plate with a couple of table scraps may be a better option for you in the long run. And in the short run, who cares if they think that, Eric is a shitbag for, clearing off his plate?
So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say you're exactly right, because the first year of me being here at this duty assignment, I took a clinic that was on the verge of, some borderline stuff, and I flipped it upside down, and now it's like the most pristine clinic in the medical facility. And then they put me in this new position because they see I have potential to fix things, which I do, but I'm like, man, I'm going through a med board. Like, why are you putting me in an area that's been broken for so long and you want me to fix it while I'm focusing on me now? I'm not going to give you 100%, and I don't care, because I got to take care of myself. So
is there someone you could have that conversation with, and someone who can take the emotion out of it and actually have it from a realistic person?
So I've had the conversation with my first sergeant and commander, and it was met like this. Hey, Sergeant Cooper, how's your med board going? Oh yeah? Oh, that sounds kind of difficult. Are you working it out? Like, do you need any help from us or anything? You got it under control? Okay, I hear what you said, but I need you to do this. That but.
Can we go up higher? Are you willing to go up higher and just do what you need to do?
Yeah, so I've already addressed my regional command sergeant major, and he said that the most he'd want from me, his expectations from me, is just to make a calendar and make him aware of things. So at the end of the day, if the commander has any gripes or complaints about me, he can be like, hey, Sergeant Cooper gave me the same calendar he gave you. Like, get off his back. This guy's going through a med board. Like, let him handle what he has to handle. And it was already verbalized in a leadership meeting when they came around and did a command visit 2 months ago. But it's like, since he's not there, they're kind of just going around what he said and trying to work me how they want to. It should be a given, at this point. And I feel like I shouldn't have to be given effort to let you know, like, hey, I got stuff going on. I'm about to get out the Army. I got to take care of me and my family. But unfortunately, I have to take those extra steps just to inform him, like, bro, I'm taking care of myself right now. Like, give me some space. So yeah, you're asking the right questions, and I'm doing what they're asking, but it's just like every time I turn around and need to take the time to do this stuff, it's always like, where's Sergeant Cooper? Are you not aware that I'm ETSing? Like, come on, dude, don't play games.
What do you got, Ann?
So my question to Eric is, what is the exit plan from the command and you?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I sat down with my commander and I asked him, I said, are we going to be proactive or reactive about me leaving these positions? Because you're going to need somebody to fill in. And I'd rather have a replacement come in now so I can train them how I'm doing it, because this is your expectation. They literally told me, we don't have anybody to put there. When you leave, we're just going to have to give all the work to the first sergeant.
Okay. All right. What you got, Dennis? That's
I'll
an
put my recommendation later when it's time for advice.
Okay.
So I have a question, Eric. Do you think that that answer was driven off? They don't get another one because having sat in the first sergeant's chair, you have your MTO positions, you don't typically get another one till that one's gone, even if they're in your position.
Roger. So we were never slotted for one, and I was actually slotted as the NCOIC of the clinic, but they moved me over there. Let's put it like this. Long story short, we have NCOs who sit around doing close to nothing, and every time I bring them up and the workload that they do is tangible and you can see that it's nothing, you get pushback, and I'm like, okay, I'm just letting you know.
Right.
Okay, you know.
Okay.
All right, what you got, Dennis?
Hey, good evening, Eric. So in response to your med board, you already said that you had about an 80% rating. Have you done any of your transition classes? Have you gone to a VSO to sign up to at least finalize the paperwork, or if there are some other things to try and bring that up with the VSO organization?
So I was tracking the so I have done transitional stuff. I've already done SFL TAP and everything that's required of me to clear after the med board is done. I was tracking Veteran Guardian, and my father, he utilized the service as well. He's a retired Marine, and he was gonna when I go back home, he was gonna put me in. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll say a good man because you're a retired Marine.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's what's up. So you know, he has some resources that he's been utilizing. He went from 10% to 40%, and now he's at 90%. So I'm pretty sure with my provisional initial rating being 80, I can get it bumped up to 100. So man, I'm out here doing it, man. I'm really trying to get all these resources and making sure I'm on track and not letting anything go through the cracks. I'm taking it all in while taking these shots from the unit. So, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty hard when you're running solo like that. I can share that experiences with you as well. You know, as overwhelming as it might be, especially for you, knowing that you're about to get med boarded out and have all these different questions. My final question is, one, congratulations on your master's program. It's a huge accomplishment. Where are you planning on staying in the Fort Sill area, or is there another area that you're trying to get to?
So I'm trying to finesse a position in my organization. We've lost a few positions, but we still have the hiring resources per se. It's a stretch for me to stay out here. I have nothing out here. So that's why I was going to make the fall back home, so I wouldn't have to worry about paying rent on a home that's not going to be my forever home. I'm not trying to waste money on just staying local when I can fall back and save some money and just work remote while I figure things out. Unless they could actually get that position open in my organization right now, it's a GS7, GS8, I believe. There's no reason for me to stick around here. I have some personal matters that kind of influence the decision as well. Hence, you know, being away from my family for 15 years and other things. I've been away for a while, had a lot of death in the family that I wasn't there for. So I'm really trying to go back to the East Coast and be around my parents a little bit. Yeah, not too much out here for me, to be honest with you, man.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Eric, just a couple of questions. I don't know if they still have it, but like when I went through my MEB, it may be a caseworker or something like that. Do you have one?
A Pueblo?
Yeah, well, the Pueblo, okay. They also had caseworkers, service workers outside of the Pueblo, but you obviously have a point of contact there, correct?
Yeah, so I have a Pueblo, I have so I have the Pueblo on the DoD side, I have the caseworker on the VA side, and then I have a legal representative as well.
Okay, so you do have a caseworker, gotcha. And then another question. So obviously, do you live on post? Do you live off post? Do you rent?
I live on the base.
Okay, so you live on the base. Okay, and then have in your SFLL TAP stuff, have they talked to you about due to seeking a med board or being med boarded, the short flash to bang on household goods and movers and stuff? Have they mentioned that?
No, honestly, I did all my SFL TAP virtually, and there was a lot of sections on there that weren't required. And considering I'm a staff sergeant, they said that they didn't need to go through it with me, and kind of just check the block on those. As far as household goods go, I'm tracking that I get 90 days of storage until I have to ship it to a preferred address, which in my case would be my home of record. And that's about all I got. I do a lot of my research online, and hearsay of people who've been through the same situation, such as you all. But yeah, that's just what I got on that one.
Okay, no, thanks for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so I have one for you. I know everything is humming at you really, really fast or whatnot. Do you have your, like, I call it 30, 60, 90, like your goals written down or your milestones or your benchmarks written down on something?
I don't have it written down on something, but I got it up here. That's a no-go?
That's a no-go. That's a no-go. As you said, you got 1,000 things going on right now.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that one. Does anybody else have any statements? And did we lose our other?
We lost him because he's fighting the flu bug.
I got you.
So I'm sitting back here taking notes.
Okay.
In fact, I connected Eric with Larry Brown on his Excel spreadsheet. So if I could, I'll go with my piece of advice. I've heard a lot of people talk about timeline. In fact, Deanne just mentioned it. I really, really like Larry Brown's Excel spreadsheet because it shows you what you have to do. And he uses it to communicate to his commander what he had to do. And he's the IG for an Army division. So, that's a pretty difficult job, but he was able to have an intelligent conversation with them. It sounds to me, and we've heard this a lot of times, well, we won't be the same without Eric. Yes, they will not be the same, but it's not your problem. Okay, so my advice is get with Larry, put together his timeline and master that so that you can actually have an intelligent conversation with your commander and your first sergeant and whoever else is in your chain of command.
Right.
Guys.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Sean.
Go back and do all the SFL TAP courses. I've been in 20 years getting ready to retire, and I still did every single one of them. There's no reason not to, for one. It's there for you. You're probably going to pick something up. I have 2 master's degrees. I don't have to go to the education one, but I did, and I learned some things. Plus I learned some things that'll help my kids down the road. So go back and take advantage of that, and make sure you check all those ones that they checked off for you, because they're screwing you is what they're doing. Go through and actually take them all because they're there for you, And if you didn't plan on doing it, I'd take the boots to business one too, because you'll learn a lot. And someday you may decide you want to start your own thing. So that's definitely one you want to have under your belt. And it will probably help a little bit with your situation and get you out of the office, because them turning you down for SFL tap stuff, that's a much bigger deal than just saying, no, you got to go to work.
Understood.
It's good stuff, Sean. And I will tell you from my own experience, you need to make some kind of board, write down your goals, and you have a lot of things going on between your transition stuff and your medical board stuff and your what I call for lack of better terms, your oh shit stuff, right? So if it doesn't work out at that job there where you're at, how are you, what's your fallback plan, your B and C plan for the East Coast? Where are you trying to be at on the East Coast? Where's your family at? What does the job market look like? Where that backup plan is. You know what the one looks like at Tinker. You know what you could be doing there, right? And then additionally, there's tons of resources, and I'm pretty sure you'll get bombarded from all of us in here on your LinkedIn of a couple of different resources. Because I tell everybody that SFL TAP is a surface level scratch of what's out there and the information that you can get. Between all of us in here, you probably got well over 100 years of experience of different ways to get stuff done right now. So that's the advice that I would give you right now. Did anybody else have any advice?
I would recommend taking time for Eric. So when I started doing my whole transition back in February, and I went ham. Like I had 6, 7, 8, 9 appointments every single day, talking to this person, that person, this call, that call, et cetera, et cetera. And I wasn't taking any Tim time. And then finally dawned on me, is like, no matter what I do, like I have to have time for me, right? And taking a day or two here or there and just clearing your calendar completely and just go sit in the park, drink a beer and eat some cookies or whatever it is Eric does to unwind, right? Just taking that day, right? Everything else for a day can sit over here and just do whatever it's going to do. That this is the most important thing that you got. So it's worked miracles for me.
That's one of the key things of why I plan on making the move I do, because I'm a firm believer that mental health is wealth. And if you're not good up there, it's going to reflect in every facet of your life. And I feel like I've kind of strayed away from it, just being stretched so thin and then having so many things just piling on one after the other. And I'm like, I got to get to a place where I can level, productively level, like be in an environment where I can still be productive, but chill at the same time, if you will. So that's what I'm working on right now, because I'm not trying to jump into anything head first and just tear myself up any more than I already am. So
all right, what do you got, Dennis?
Well, Dino's got his hand up.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think I'm good now. All right, so I'll keep it short. 2 things. One is that I'll tell you what I was told, like the service is going to continue to move without you.
Yep.
So
Facts.
one of the things that you have to do is that you have to prioritize yourself, because you know that you're on a time schedule. I think it's great that you want your regional or your regional or regimental sergeant major. You've got to get a senior officer involved in it. Lieutenant colonel, whoever it is. In the Marines, we call it requesting mast. Okay, like it's got to go up to that senior commander level. And it's not an ounce of disrespect. It's a genuine one. Like I'm really concerned because we know the DoD doesn't work during the holidays, but they're sure gonna slam you after the new year. And the biggest thing that you want to try and do is get ahead of bang as much as you can. So with that being said, second thing is if you do have your senior sergeant major, if you have his attention, then use it. Okay, like make appointments. Even though you went through the med board already, if you got stuff coming up that's new, anxiety, stuff like that, like, do it. Set the appointment, okay? Because it has to get documented. The biggest thing that you can do is that it might not be seen right now because all the paperwork's in, but when you get out, you have all that documentation that you can go back to the VSO or whatever organization that you need and say, hey, look, I didn't have a chance because this was where I was at. And then I developed these after I was able to submit paperwork. Okay, biggest thing, man, is I mean, you're at a crunch time right now and you got to worry about yourself, and you got a lot on your plate. And it's unfortunate that your command isn't, at least affording you the best opportunity for you to succeed. So you just gotta, like you as a staff sergeant, you got that rocker on the bottom. It's time to use that rocker.
All right, we'll hit Aladino and then Ann.
All right, I got a few things, and I'll hit you up with similar to what everybody else says, but the song we sing it at every ceremony that we attend, and one of the key lines of it is that the Army keeps rolling along. It's part of the Army song. Army was here before, we'll be here while you're in it, and we'll continue to be after, and it will keep rolling regardless of what's going on. So I highly recommend that you prioritize your transition into the civilian sector, regardless of how shocking it may be, or if you actually plan it out to get out right now. The other part is expectation management. Same thing that we set the expectation of our leadership and our command. They themselves have somewhat of expectation of us, and we have to somewhat manage that relationship, because if you are a little bit loose in your transitioning process and you give them the idea or the impression that you're always going to be there and that you're going to prioritize the mission, the unit, the command over your transition, then in their mind, their expectation is that you're always going to continue to be there. And until you are completely separated, they're not going to action on finding a replacement for you and giving you that opportunity to take care of yourself. And that leads me to the other point, which is fill your calendar up. Regardless of what it is, do not shortchange yourself. Do not limit the opportunities that are out there. And if you don't fill it up for yourself, the command is going to fill it up for you. So take advantage of all those transition programs that are available and go out there and take care of all of them. Limit the virtual ones. The virtual ones are good, but don't limit them. Go take advantage of the opportunities and go out there and focus and prioritize your transition. That is all I have.
Appreciate
All
that.
right,
This is Ann. So I'm a planner. This was my 2022 goals from January up into December, and I kept filling it out to make sure that I get stuff done. And I would recommend, I know you got stuff in your mind. I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, okay, did you put it in writing? Because sometimes he'll forget. And then I'm like, oh, did you do this? He's like, oh, I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. But if you're by yourself there, you want to make sure those get done and put the time for yourself, just like everyone mentioned. For me, it's a 2-year calendar, and I put down each month what my goals are. The other part is being transparent with the command. If they want to know your calendar, be transparent. Put everything on there. Oh, I'm going to go do med board stuff. I have some more SFL TAP class stuff. And then I also, when I was getting ready to get out, I had kind of like a continuity information thing. This is what I worked on. Here's the POCs. So when I'm not here, here's you guys can contact those people. So that way there's no question about what you did. And then also they can go back to those emails and contact those people when you're gone.
Hey guys, I hate to break up what has been a really excellent discussion, but we're down to the last 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask that Kelly and the other people who put their hands up reach out to, first of all, connect with him, and then reach out to Eric with your comments. This has been an exceptional session, and I don't play favorites, but if I had to pick one group, it would be this group. Okay. So, Dion, I'm going to just steal your thunder in the interest of time. Thank you for doing this, by the way. Of all the things you heard tonight, Eric, what's the 1 or 2 things were the biggest takeaways? And if you could keep it to about a minute or so, that would be great.
I'll keep it to 3 words. Prioritize me.
There
That's
you
2
go.
actually right there. I don't even got to stop.
I love it. You're succinct and on point. Okay. All right,
2 words, right?
that is 2 words. All right, I'll take 2. All right.
Even shorter.
Okay, so I've got the last part of tonight's program. First of all, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Dion, because that allows me to do some of behind the scene magic that we do at the Military Transition Roundtable. I will take over the last part, which is accountability for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to start with Ken because Ken was wanting to weigh in. Ken, next 3 weeks, excuse me, next 3 weeks. January the 5th, next 3 weeks, what can we hold you accountable for? Okay, Ken, are you frozen, sir? Must be frozen. Dennis, next 3 weeks.
Hey, guys, so next 3 weeks, I'm just gonna prioritize, trying to figure out what my 2023 looks like. I still have a couple of things I gotta prioritize as far as some additional certifications, but now that I'm out of my master's degree program, I'll be able to seek some of those other certifications that I want to achieve. So prioritizing and laying a pretty good groundwork of 2023 and hitting the road running. It's gonna be my accountabilities for the next upcoming 2 weeks.
All right, Kelly, you're next. I'm doing the secret square thing as I'm going backwards. You're next on my secret square.
Okay, so my goals, I am reading a John Maxwell book. I'm going on vacation, so I'm gonna relax next week. And then I have a rough draft of my 2023 goals with smart, in a smart format, performance, professional, and then with a financial aspect as well.
Great. And by the way, congratulations on your wedding, by the way.
Thank you. So for me, accountability is to study for the 3 exams. The AML, the anti-money laundering, is the first one that I need to get accomplished. Then be ready to take those 2 exams for the Certified Financial Planner and what's the other one? PMI, ACP, Agile. That's it.
That's a busy schedule, my friend. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, Dino.
I'll just continue cranking through my disc assessment and essentially finding out those blind spots and some work that Don gave me last time we discussed it. But yeah, I'll be working through my disc assessment for my
Okay. Sean.
I'm going to continue to work on the 3 different certification programs I'm in right now. And I'm also starting to do research on businesses as I try to determine where I'm taking the podcast next.
By the way, if you put that podcast information into the MTR group and also into Slack, that would be great, because a lot of people don't know you do that, and that's really an awesome program.
Will do.
Okay, Ken, you're back. Accountability. Next 3 weeks. Next 3 weeks.
Next 3 weeks, hopefully pass my solutions architect associate next week. And then actually final out, and then start my skill bridge prior to the next meeting.
I saw a nice picture of you and your family at the retirement ceremony, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was mine and my sister's families, and my mom was there too. So it was pretty cool. That was on my retirement ceremony. It was. I went ahead and I took it before skill bridge and everything, just to kind of
Get out of the way.
Kind of like everybody else said, like put the cap on it and just say, like, I'm done. So, like to let those other people take their place in the hierarchy in the unit and kind of take over. So
okay, well, maybe you and Eric can share how you did that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tim.
I think for my accountability, probably find two more companies to talk to about SkillBridge or CSP or some other positions in Maine, and continue moving some money around so I can do some more investments now that I've got a bunch of funds that have loosened up. So.
Okay, great. Michael B.
Yes. So today I want to meet with someone else. I've got someone in mind that I want to meet with in person that's in my area over the next 3 weeks and give them some guidance and some contacts to help them. Someone Dion's been working with too. And I met someone today who could probably help him out a lot. So
How about Keith?
yeah, Keith can probably help him a bunch. So
Okay. All right, Dion.
All right, so priority number one is figure out what I need to accomplish for my kid to be gone by the summer so I can walk around my house amazingly by myself. Two, enjoy Christmas and New Year's. And then
Yes.
three, try to figure out these exams that I have to take and why the Department of Air Force and my employer are not seeing eye to eye based off of black and white says I can take these exams, but I need a government sponsor to bless me off on it.
I got you. Okay. All right, Eric, we're going to come back to you. First of all, I hope you like what you saw in today's program. Can we see you in 3 weeks?
Most definitely.
All right, so we'll send you application here in just a minute. Well, I will try. If it doesn't get to you, will you let me know via LinkedIn message?
Gotcha.
I have another group at 8:15. I think the accountability for you, what do you think is we've kind of tore it up for you, but what's the accountability for you specific?
Setting goals. The 30, 60, 90 and the goal setting is going to be very important to help keep me on track so I don't keep everything up here and have it, tangible somewhere that I can relay back to it just in case I get too flustered along the way.
Perfect. Okay, guys, a couple announcements. Number one, it's January 5th, same time, same bat channel. Two, I will not be here because I'm getting a check from the VFW post in San Antonio to help defray some of our costs. Okay, and some of you have contributed here in the last couple of months to help us with our fundraiser. But if you feel generous, if suddenly you have some extra money and you say, what can I do with that extra money? Well, let me know and I will send you the link to our fundraising page. With that, guys, I'll see you in 5 weeks because unless I talk to you before then, and I know I'm going to be talking to Angelique on Saturday, so I'm probably get to see you again. But I'm here. I am going to be on vacation, but as most of you know, the best way to reach me is through LinkedIn messaging. So good night. Wishing you all a happy holidays, and we'll see you in January.
Happy holidays.
All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Make sure y'all check
Absolutely.
on
Have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
check on y'all battle buddies.
Yes.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year all.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, y'all. Have a good one.
Michael B., thank you as always.
Yes, sir. I'll catch you up tomorrow or another time when our time's not about to lapse.
Yeah, I've got to
But-
get ready for this next one, and I'm by myself, so
Oh my. Okay.
I can do it. It's not a
Yeah.
it's not a challenge, but it does allow me to work through some things, by having you guys do that. And the thing of it is that in 3 weeks I'm going to be at the VFW post, thanking them for their check and billing the
Outstanding.
inroad for other stuff. So that's
Oh, that's
something.
great. That's great.
Yeah, it's something I got to do.
Absolutely. But
But,
today was a
the thing
great
is-
meetup. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a good evening now.
All right, bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.